Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Can you able to hear me? My voice is okay. Yeah. So let's start with the session now. So before I start the session, just like every day, we'll just recap what we have discussed yesterday. Then we'll proceed with today's session. So yesterday, what we discussed in MCSE. Yesterday, what was the yesterday topic? So storage management was day before yesterday. Yesterday, what we had discussed? Yes, Hyper-V. So using the Hyper-V, what we can do? It's a application of the Windows or Microsoft from which we can install any OS. Yes, virtualization is a technology that is been used to install the multiple OS. So for that we have two types of virtualization. Yes, software and hardware. So we discussed yesterday software. So for software we need application. So what application we used yesterday? Hypervisor. Then we created the virtual machine. Like this, I shown you how to create virtual machine. So like this, you can depending upon your hardware requirement, you can have number of virtual machines in that you can install any OS of your requirement. Okay, so that is about the yesterday session. Now today we'll start another new important topic. Today we'll discuss another important topic, that is what? WDS. So what we are going to discuss today? WDS. Now WDS. So yeah, please all of you keep your mics in mute position. So please all of you keep your mics in mute position. Let us start here. So suppose I have here number of machines here. Like this, I have number of machines. So if I want to use this machine, what is the first requirement? I need to install the OS. Suppose assume I have 100 machines here. 100 machine. It's a startup company. Assume I joined to a startup company or 100 machines are there. 100 machine need to be used. So first and foremost, what you have to do in this 100 machine? First thing, what you have to do in this 100 machine? You need to install what? OS. Yes, without OS, can we use this machine? Can you join into the network? Can you able to communicate? No, nothing will happen unless until you install the OS. So now you are administrator. You need to install, you need to install in 100 machines what? OS. Now, how to install the OS now in this? You need, generally we'll go with what? DVD. So if you insert the DVD, what happens? What will happen? You have to install the OS. So how do you install the OS? Now, I assume you are an administrator. You are facing this task now. What you do? will you ask the company to purchase 100 DVDs, then DVD ROMs, then one by one you will go to each machine and install the OS? Will you do like that? If you go with this process, you can do it, but how much time it will take? Lots of time. So what is the solution or remedy for this? What is the solution? Yes, we can do the installation remotely. Remotely means from one machine, like in one machine, we can install, we can keep on ISO image, and we can deploy the OS. We can deploy the OS on this machine. So remotely at one time, simultaneously, we can install the OS, whichever OS you want, on multiple machines. So this can be done automatically. For that, for that, you need ISO image of the OS. We can deploy it, but it will be done automatically. These OS will be installed automatically. No. So in this machine, you need to install one service called WDS. So now, what is the service we'll use here? Windows deployment service. Through this, we can deploy the service. So now this service is designed by whom? WDS. So who designed this WDS service? Yes, the WDS service is designed by the Microsoft. So with this, we can deploy the OS. Which type of OS we can deploy? Only Windows or any OS? The service is designed by the Microsoft. With this, we can deploy what? Any OS. That image has to be there. We can install any OS, not only Windows. Any OS as per our requirement we can do. But this service can be installed WDS only on which machine? This WDS can be installed on only which machine? WDS service can be installed on machine only on the Windows server. Remember this. We can deploy any OS with WDS, but this WDS has to be configured first. So this WDS service is configured only on which machine? Since it is designed by the Microsoft, it can be done only on Windows Server operating system. So remember, this WDS service is introduced by the uh, Microsoft people from 2012. So before this 2012, suppose I'm having 2008 or 3, can we use this service WDS? No. But same service was available in 2008 and 3, but with a different name. So this WDS we are getting from 2012. So in 2003 and 8, we used to use similar service, but that service name used to be called, the service name was different. So previously for 2003 and 2008, in place of WDS, we used to use a service called RIS. What was the service name? RIS. That used to be called Remote Installation Service. Then what is the purpose of the WDS? To install the OS in multiple machines simultaneously through the network method. we don't need any DVDs or DVD ROMs. Then WDS service is called as what? What is the abbreviation for WDS? Windows Deployment Service. Windows Deployment Service. Now we think this from which year? 2012. Before this, we were using similar service. What was that service name? RIS. Now, did you understand what is the importance of today's session? Today we'll discuss also Linux. Till 14 Linux will be there. First, I'll complete this. After that, we'll go to the Linux. So RIS full form, what I said, it is Remote Installation Service. Okay. So with the help of the WDS, we can install. We can install what? We can install the OS remotely to the multiple machines simultaneously without using any DVD. So first we are discussing the MCSE topic. Once this WDS is completed, we'll go to the Linux. So now WDS can do what? Can deploy the OS. Yes, but with WDS we can do three things. So the major advantage with the WDS is what? It can deploy the OS. That is the main purpose. Deploy the operating system. But it can also do two other things. With the WDS, we can also assign the IP address. We can also assign the IP address to the machines which are been installed with the OS. And also we can able to join this machine, join the machine into the domain, and join the machines into the domain. So these are the three things we can able to do with the help of the WDS service. We can deploy the OS, we can assign the IP address, and we can join this machine into the domain. But this option of joining the machine into domain is optional. If you want, you can join it. Or if you don't want to join the machine, you want that machine to be existing as work group, you can keep it. Both options is there. You can join or you can keep as a what? Work group machine. And these things we can do with the help of with the help of what? WDS. But there is one condition. If you want to use this WDS, the ISO image should be converted while using the WDS service. The ISO image should be converted into should be converted into what? Vim files. Like Vim files. So this WDS service doesn't understand ISO image by default. So we need to convert that ISO image into what? Vim files. The image should be converted into what extension? Should be converted into Vim files. And that extension should be what? Vim. ISO should be converted into .vim extension. So what is meant by here? .vim. The abbreviation for Vim is what? Windows image file. Windows image files. So how to convert this our ISO image into the Vim files? We'll see that. In today's practical. Okay. So this is the importance of the WDS. So overall, what you have to understand in a broadly, WDS is a service which is used to deploy the OS remotely into number of machines simultaneously, but doesn't But but with the WDS service, we can also do certain other things along with the deployment of OS. Like we can assign the IP address, as well as if you want, instead of separately joining the machine into the domain, while installing the OS also, we can join this machine into our domain. These are the options we can do. But remember this condition: if you want to deploy the OS with the WDS service, the ISO image should be there, but that ISO image will be not understood directly by the WDS service. So we need to convert that ISO image into Vim extension. So once we convert that into Vim extension, the files will be converted. The ISO image file will be converted into what? Vim files. So Vim stands for what? Windows image file. So this is the information you should have about the WDS service. So before WDS service, what was the service we were using? What we were using? RIS. Yes. So while doing this deployment of the OS, while doing the deployment of the OS through WDS, there are two options. We can use attended method and unattended method. Attended means somebody should press one key called F2. But if you want to avoid it also, you can do it. But that you need one tool. You need one tool that is called WAAX. So if you want to deploy the OS without anybody pressing anything unattended, we need one tool that is called WAAK, which is called, this tool is a third-party tool which you need to use. So this tool name is what? Windows Assessment, Windows Assessment Automatic Kit. So once you use this tool, Windows Assessment Automatic Kit, then nobody need to press any key. That is called unattended, because this application contain what? Some some files which is called as what? .xml file, which is in simple language it's called answer file. So this answer file will be created with the help of this application, with the help of this tool, Windows Assessment Automatic Tool. So this will convert what? The files into answerable file. So we don't have to attend anything. So if you don't want anybody to attend, we need answer file. That should be XML. But how do you do it? With the help of an application called Windows Assessment Automatic Kit. Okay. But we'll be doing through the what? Attended. Just we need to press one key. We can go to the machine and press what? Without this tool, we need to just press one key. What is that key? F12. If you want to do that also, you can provide. You can suppose don't want to use this F12 key. Then there is the option. Some settings need to be done. Then also it will be done. But I'll show you how to press that. How to install the OS by pressing the F12 key. Okay. So this is the some of the important information related with the WDS. Now we want to configure the WDS. Now we should know what are the requirement. What are the requirement? What are the requirement for WDS service? So WDS service cannot be installed as an isolated service. It needs some prerequisite services. Then only the WDS service will work. So what are the prerequisite services required to run the WDS? We'll see now. That is called the requirement for WDS server. So let me show you what are the Now coming to the requirement for the WDS. So WDS service cannot be run in isolation. Means if you want to run the WDS service, if you want to run the WDS service, if you want to run the WDS service, there are some prerequisite services should be present in your network. Then only the WDS service will run. So what are the prerequisite services which need to be present for configuration of the WDS service? Means first important service is what? Network. The important service should be running before you configure before you configure the WDS is what? In your network you should have compulsory DHCP server. Then you should also have a service called ADDS with the DNS. This is also important. Then you need also what? A NTFS partition. You need also NTFS partition. NTFS partition in which you need to store your ISO image. So this ISO image need to be converted into two types of images because the ISO should be in which extension? .vim files. So to convert this ISO image into .vim files, we need two types of images. So that we'll get it what? Boot, boot image. We need what? Boot image and install image. And now we can have a service called WDS. So this can be there in multiple machine or all this can be combined in single machine. This is up to you depending upon your size of a network. If our size of our network is small, all these things we can run in a single machine. But if your size of a network is large, then we need separate machines for running this separate service. But these are the prerequisite conditions. So these are the three services essential. These are the three things essential before I configure the WDS. Now with the WDS, with the help of the WDS, we can now deploy the OS. We can deploy the OS in multiple machines simultaneously. Along with, we can also assign the IP address. If you want, we can also join the machine into the domain. These are things we can do with the WDS. And one more thing you have to remember. So now there is a suppose some machines here connected. So these all machines need to be installed with the OS. So these all machines can be in one machine. So this is connected via, suppose these all machines are connected here to a switch. The switch. Let us assume this is our switch. So these machines will be connected to this. But this machine in which you need to install the OS, one condition is there. That machine need to be having LAN card which is having the support of PXE. That is called pre-bootable executable environment. PXE is called what? So nowadays all your LAN card is having a support with what? PXE. But in the olden days this support was not there. At that time we need to use what? Discover image. Along with what? Boot image and install image, we need discover image if PX is not there. But if PX is there, these two images is enough. So PX is for what? In the machine in which this OS has to be installed with the help of WDS. That LAN card should support the PXE. Here PXE stands for what? Pre boot pre-bootable execution environment. This is the abbreviation for execution environment. So these are the things we have to remember before we proceed with the WDS. Now, did you got some idea, everybody? What we will do with the WDS? before we install the WDS, what are the requirement? Understood now? Or any doubt? Okay. So shall we proceed with the slide now so that you can understand what is WDS and how it will work? After that, we'll do the practice. Okay, fine. Okay. Thanks for your confirmation. Now we'll proceed with the slide. WDS service, which is stands for what? Windows Deployment Service. So what are the requirements for WDS? Already we discussed. We require DSCP server, DNS server, Active Directory, and NTFS partition to store the image. ISO. So these are the prerequisite condition for installing the WDS. Okay. If you want, you please take a snapshot of this. Then I'll proceed to the next slide. Yes, next slide. How this WDS will work. So suppose this is the machine in which you need to deploy the OS with the help of WDS. Network. Without the OS get installed, it has to become the part of the OS. Sorry, part of the network. So how it will happen? That's why a condition is there. Your machine LAN card should have a support of PXE. PXE stands for what? Pre-bootable. P means pre-bootable. X means here executable, and E means what? Environment. So if that LAN card is supporting that, what will happen? First, it will take the IP from the DHCP. So to become a part of the network, this machine which does not have the any OS, any IP, no IP. So first, it will take the IP from the DHCP server to become a part of this network. Then, once the IP is assigned, it has to search for the WDS service. So the searching is done with the help of what? DNS server. So because this WDS service will be installed along with what? Domain controller. So where the domain controller is there, it need to find it out. So that searching of the domain is done with the help of what? DNS server. Now the DNS will give the information about the DC. Now it will go to the, because the WDS service is a part of the domain. So once you find the domain, now domain controller will give the information of WDS. Now the OS will get deployed. For that, in the WDS, we need to convert the ISO image into the Vim extension, that is the Windows image. That is done by using boot image and install image. If you don't have the PXE, we need to use one more image that is called discover image. Okay. And if you want similar configuration, we have one more type of image that is called capture image. So multiple machine to have same configuration, then you need one more image that is called captured image. So these are the prerequisites. Now the WDS will deploy the will assign the IP address. If you want, that machine will join into the domain also. So these are the things we can do with the help of WDS. Is it okay now? Did you got some concept how the WDS will? Yes. Anybody any doubt? Or can we proceed to the next point? what I was telling you that if you want to deploy the WDS, first in your network you should have the DSCP, DNS as well as the domain control until it get the IP. So who will assign the IP address? Who will assign the IP address? DSCP. But this domain controller will have the information about the WDS. So now who will have the information about the DC or the domain controller? DNS. That's why DNS is also important. If DNS is not there, then the machine which is not having the IP doesn't know the domain controller. So domain controller is being searched with the help of what? DNS. So DNS we discuss it have what? Service record, Active Directory integrated partition, primary partition, Active Directory integrated primary zone that contains service record. Through that it will give the information about the DC by the DNS. It will go to the DC. Then the DC will send it to the WDS. Yes, understood now? Okay. So now we'll see in the WDS we need to convert the image into what? .vim. Windows image. So how it is done? So when we install this WDS, we'll get certain images. With the help of that image, like boot image, install image, discover image, configuration image, we can able to convert the ISO image into Vim extension. Okay. So when we install this OS in WDS, there are two types of clients, known and unknown. Known means a computer which is already whose entry is there in the Active Directory. Before you join that machine, you may just write the system name. So that is called known client. A known client is one whose computer exists in the Active Directory. Unknown client means what? A computer unknown is one whose computer account has been not added or not given the entry or not mentioned in the Active Directory. So the WDS assign the OS to the known client or to the unknown client or to the both of them. WDS will install the OS to known clients or unknown clients or both of them. Here, without installing the OS, we can mention the entry in the some name we can give. So that is what called here it is written. Unknown client means whose entry account, computer account is been not written in the Active Directory. So it doesn't mean that after you install the OS, then only that entry will be written. I'm not saying joining. I'm saying the entry, just the something about that computer is mentioned in the Active Directory. That is called known client. Understood? It's a fresh machine without any OS. Okay, clear? Now my doubt was with the help of WDS, it will install the OS in known clients or unknown clients or both of them. Please tell me. The options are given. Yes, the answer is both of them. We'll deploy the OS in known, unknown, both. So now we'll proceed. Now we'll proceed with what? Types of images. So when we install the WDS, it will have what? Through the WDS service, we can convert the images from the ISO to Vim with the help of the images. So what are the images we'll have with the WDS service, which will help in conversion of the ISO image into Vim? One of the image is what? This will be default created boot image, install image. This will be created when we install the WDS service. Remember. So this boot image. So it is a Vim file which will use to boot the computer to begin the deployment of the OS. So what happens? Suppose you are trying to deploy the OS into the remotely into the machine. So first, once we install the WDS, what it will do? It will have a boot image. So with the help of this boot image, what it will do? It will make the system where the OS is not there ready to uh, take the make ready the system to initiate or to get ready to start the deployment of the to accept deployment OS. So that's what the boot image is done. So here it is written Vim file. It can use to boot a computer to begin the deployment of the OS to the. So it will make the system ready, get booted up a computer so that it is in a position to system ready to get ready to get with the understood. Next, install image. So what it will do, it will make the deployment. So who is making the system ready? Boot image. Then who will install the OS? Install image. As the name indicate, boot image will boot the computer, means it will make ready the system to be in a position to get prepared to start with the deployment. And then install image. Then the install image will deploy the OS into the client. So now boot image plays this boot image plays the important role in the server or in the client. A boot image is used to boot the computer to begin the deployment of the OS to the computer. So this will be done in the client machine or on the WDS server. Yes, it will do on the server. So boot image will make the WDS server to begin the deployment of the OS to the computer where the OS is not there. And install image will install the OS into the client computer. Now, did you understood? So this boot image and install image will be present where? In the WDS server. So what the boot image will do? It will make WDS server ready process or to initiate the deployment of the OS to the computer where the OS is not there. So it will initiate, boot means it will initiate or start the deployment of the OS. Then install image. So install image of the WDS server will deploy the OS into the computer where the OS is not there. Now, did you understood everybody, or shall I repeat? Yes, everybody understood, or shall I repeat? Okay. So what I was telling you, so now our prerequisites are assume is ready. Mean DHCP server is there in our network. DC is there. DC means it is a service with HDS and DNS. So those are ready. And we have copied the ISO image in one partition with NTF. Now this is the prerequisite condition. Now I install in one machine, so suppose WDS. So now the complete setup is ready. So once we install the WDS service, in which machine the WDS service is installed, that machine will work like a WDS server. So when we install this WDS service in a machine, the WDS server contain two important images. One is boot image, the other one is install image. These images will be created once you install the WDS service. So now the WDS server will have two images, boot image and install image. So this boot image will make the WDS server will make or start or initiate the WDS server to begin the deployment of the OS to the client where the OS is not there. So what is the work of the boot image in the WDS server? It's make the WDS server to initiate or start the process of deployment of the OS to the computer. That is the role or work of the boot image. So who will start the process of the deployment from the WDS server? Boot image, which will be in the WDS server. Is it clear now about the WDS? I repeat once again, in the WDS server, boot image will start or initiate the process of deployment of the OS from the WDS server to the client. Okay. Next, in the WDS server, we have one more image that is called install image. So with the help of this install image, the WDS server will do the deployment of the OS to the client. So who will start the process of deployment from the WDS server? Boot image. And who will install the image into the client from the WDS server? Install image. This is what in simple what you have to remember. Is it okay now? Okay. So these images will deploy. So first boot image will initiate or start the process of deployment, and it is been done with the help of the install image. This is what you have to understand in a simple. Okay, we'll proceed. So these are two most important images we have. But suppose your client is not having PXE, then we need one more image that is called discover image. So if PXE support is not there in the client, then we need to use discover image. And suppose there are 100 machine. In 100 machine, you need similar configuration. Then you need to use one more image that is called captured image. As the name indicates, it is a special boot image that is used to boot the master computer and upload the image to the WDS server. So now suppose you require a prerequisite. These are the services I need in all 100 machines. So first you need to create one captured image. In captured image you have to write what are the services you need. Then you make that file ready. Now you deploy the OS with this captured image. So whatever things you require with that essential things it will get. So whatever things you require in all machine with specific requirement, then you have to create what? Capture image. So in the capture image, you need to make one machine as a master computer with your prerequisite condition. Then take that ISO image and convert it into and load that image into the remote machine. So same configuration will appear. Understood? So captured image means what? First you need to record suppose some additional services, IIS service you want in all 10 machine systems. So in one machine where you want to configure the WDS, there you configure IIS example I'm saying. Then you take the image, ISO image of that machine. Then convert that ISO image with the help of our WDS service. Install image, boot image. Then begin the deployment. So in all the 10 machines, same configuration will appear. Okay, understood now? Okay, next. As I told you, discover image is needed when we deploy the OS where the client doesn't have the PXE support. If PXE support is there, we don't need to create the discover image. Capture image needs to be created when we want similar configuration in all machines. Then we need to create some additional features you want. Then that additional feature you need to configure first in that one machine. Then that same thing can be deployed using the WDS service. Okay, understood this? So these are the about the information related with the WDS. Now we will do the practical. We'll do what? The practical. So can I begin with the practical now? PXE means I already told you it is called pre-boot executable environment. So this is the this feature will be there in the land card. So if this feature is there in the land card, before the machine get the OS, it will be in a position to get the IP address from the DHCP server, so that to become the part of the network. PX is not there, then it cannot be in a position to get the IP from DHCP. So what it will do, without OS, it should get the IP from DHCP. If OS is there, definitely it will get the IP by using the LoRa process. But without having the OS, we have to deploy the OS from network method. Then that card where you want the OS in the client machine, that card should have, every machine will have the LAN card, but that LAN card should have a feature of PXE. Nowadays, modern all LAN cards comes with what? PXE support. But earlier days, that support was not there. So if you have any old machine where your LAN card does not have the PXE support, then you need to create this cover image. Done. So can we begin with the practical now? Practical of WDS. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the things you require? First, your machine in your network. I'll show you. That's what I'll show you in the practical. How this image, ISO image. You should have the ISO image. ISO image means how we are deploying the OS on the first day. You can download the ISO image of any OS. Like seeing the ISO image of Windows Server. So you download the image. Or to some of you, when the lockdown was not complete, some of them came to the Amirpet office, given to few users. Sorry, few of our friends, which came with the pen drive. I given to them. Or you can download. Go to the Microsoft website or from the Google. Just type it. Download what? 2012 server operating system. So that image will be in which form? ISO image form. So how to convert? We'll see now practical. So what is our today's practical? We are doing which service today? WDS. Windows Deployment Service. R2 also you can work. R2 will have a little bit more features because service pack. Now, first you should have a ADDS machine, a machine in which ADDS is installed. Second, you should also have the DHCP and DNS. These are the three important things. Then log in as an administrator, click on add roles features. Then you need to install which service? WDS service. Then it is over. Now, before this, you should also have in your one of the drive the ISO image. So yesterday I shown you the practical of what? Practical of what yesterday? Service pack is not needed generally for the 2012, but for some extra, some additional things. Some packs were added, not for our purpose, for the practical other scenario. VMware. So for VMware, I install or I should keep the ISO image, no? So yesterday I copied the ISO image in my E drive. So same. So here I return three things. Install the ADDS, DSCP and DNS. With that you also should have ISO image in one of the drive. Then only you can proceed with the WDS. So I already done yesterday what? ISO image. So I have not written there. Then after this condition are fulfilled, you should install the WDS service. So how to install the WDS service, you know. So first I'll show you this, then proceed with how to convert now our ISO image into what? Vim. With the help of what? With the help of what? Boot image and install image. So now after you install the service, what you have to do? Open the WDS service from the tool. Expand your server. Right click on your system name. Then what? Configure server. Then click on next. Select here integrated with Active Directory, open the path. One default folder will be the remote install. Take same thing. Next, select respond to all means known and unknown client. Next, finish. Now you restart the task. Right click on the system, click on what? All task, start. Okay. You can do now or later, both. So now I'll show you this. But how to convert our ISO image into, I'll show you after this. So for that, first we need to copy the ISO image. Then we need to convert that boot image and install image. How to create boot image and install image, I'll show you. With the help of this image, we are converting the ISO image into a Vim extension. Boot image and install image will be there by default once we install the WDS service. So with this, boot image will make the WDS service ready to deploy the OS. So how to make it ready? We have to create what? Boot image. Then how to begin the deployment? For that we need to use what? Install image. How to use? I'll show you. So just I'll open the machines now. I'll start the practical. So how many machines I need? Two machines. One will be the client, one will be the server. So in that server, so my network is small, so I'll be uh, having multiple services in one machine, like DNS, DDDS, DSCP, my image in one machine, and I'll take the other machine as what? Client. So regularly, every day I'm using this machine as my DC. So in the DC already DNS is added. In that we already configured few days back DSCP. So all this there in single machine. So yesterday I copied the ISO. So all this prerequisite condition is there in my server. I'm opening that machine and I'm to check the output. I'll need one more client machine. So I'll open this client machine now. My machine is getting booted up. Just a minute. Just a minute. Now it's completed. Now machine will start. I got the machine booted up. I log in with the administrator now. I'll check the prerequisite condition. Condition: this machine should be having ADDS service. Here, open. Now see here. So what are the conditions for configuring the WDS server? First of all, you should have a service called ADDS. Once this server manager dashboard is loaded, you can find what are the services already installed in this machine. It's loading because we running multiple services. No, the machine became little bit slow. See, you can find this machine already. What are the services running? You can find left side. ADDS is installed. DNS is installed. DHCP. These are the prerequisite condition. Yes, these are prerequisite condition. Now, now also need the ISO image. So already we copied the ISO image yesterday. I copied the ISO image already yesterday in some E drive. Here you can find. So my requirement is ready. So important thing, what you have to do, you have to check your DHCP is able to assign the IP to the client or not. So you remember we configured the DHCP with some range. So you can again go to that and you can check your range scope. So go to here and your system name, IP version for scope. Now you can see here the scope we have created with what name? 10.1 to 100, and I excluded what 1 to 100. So my client IP should get the IP other than 1 to 10. So whether it's taking the IP or not. If DSCP is not working, means your WDS will never work. So first we check this. So I log in into the client machine before I start the WDS. Now this machine should be designed to take the IP from the DHCP because we have given the static IP. So I'll convert it back. So go to the network icon. Go to the change adapter setting. Select your LAN card. Go to the properties. IP version 4. I should remove this static IP. I'm removing the static IP. Now it should take the IP address from the DHCP server. So that's what I given, and the IP address from the DHCP server. Now I just need to make your check IP is getting or not. Now go to your LAN card. Just refresh it by disabling and enabling. Now you check whether the machine is getting the IP address or not. How do you check it? Go to the command prompt. Go to the command prompt. Type it what? ipconfig slash list renew. Now it should get IP from the DHCP server. Then only you can proceed with the WDS service. I'm getting one IP. So what is the IP I'm getting now? I binded that with what? 18, you remember? Sorry. So I'm getting the same IP, 18. So it means my DHCP server is ready. So now all our prerequisite conditions are satisfied. So now I go to my DC machine. So we need one more service. Which service? WDS. So whether the WDS service is installed? No. Now install the WDS service. How do you install the WDS service? Go to the add roles and features. This is I'm doing in DC machine where these multiple services are there. Then go to the next. How many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then check the box. Which service we want, that service you need to check. So WDS will be there at the bottom. You check the box WDS. Then it will ask you want to add the features. Yes. The box got checked 5 times. Next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now install. Service will get installed. The WDS getting installed. Now meanwhile you can check the practical. Same thing I'm doing or not here. So first I check my requirement. ADDS is there, DSCP is there, DNS is there. Now I went to the DC machine and install which service? WDS. After the service get installed, I need to open this WDS service from the tools. Expand my server, then go to my system, then configure server, click on next. Then select integrated with Active Directory path. Then next, respond to all, known, unknown, finished. All task start. Now, once it is done, we need to create what? We need to create what? Boot image. So you have to copy the ISO image in E drive, which I already done. Then on the ISO image, you need to click on what? Right click on the ISO image. Go to the ISO image. Then right click on it. Click on mount. Now open the computer. You can find the DVD is appearing. Now after that, you need to create the boot image. So how to create the boot image? Again, open the WDS service. Expand the system. Right click on boot image. Add boot image. Click the file location. Browse computer. Open the DVD by double clicks. Open the source folder. Then select the boot.vim. Then click open. Next finish. With this, boot image will be created. So this will make our WDS service ready to start the booting process. Sorry, not booting process, to start the loading of the OS. It will make the WDS server ready to start the loading of the OS. Then who will install it? Install image. So we need to create two images. Yes. So after this, I'm going to my machine now. Yes, WDS can install any OS, remember, but WDS should be configured with what? On Windows Server. ISO image you should have, then you can deploy. Now my WDS service got installed, still getting installed. Now the WDS service got installed, you can find here WDS. Open this WDS service, go to the tools. Here you will find some service called WDS. Open this WDS service. Now here WDS service is there. So you expand the servers, your system name, right click, configure server, then next. Here integrate with the Active Directory, yes, next. Remote. See, this folder will be created default. You go with what next. Select what, not listen to this, next. Next. I selected both are unknown. I'll just check it out. So here, I think this is configured here. And now this is got configured. So what you have to do, select this, all task, start. Now Now it's been started. So here one service you can find here. Okay. If you want to remove this, you can remove like this. Again, if you want, you can configure it. So same thing, I'll do it now. Expand, because I don't know whether I did at server. Here I got the name. Now just select this, right click. I'm not getting the option. Properties. All task start. Stop. Start. Okay. So WDS service is running. Now what we need to do it now. We need to create two types of images, boot and install image. How to do it? You have seen already in the notes. So first I need to go to the ISO image, then make it mount. So what I'll do now, go to the what, my computer. Anything like the DVD is appearing? No. So you go to the ISO image, select the ISO image, right click, then say what, mount. Mounted. Now you can find here the DVD will be appearing extra. Yes, this is our ISO image. Now what you have to do, you have to create the first boot image. So to create the boot image, you go to the tools, Windows deployment service again. Here, same thing I'm doing, whatever is there in the notes. I need to expand system, right click on boot image, click on add boot image, file location, browse, computer DVD, source folder, then boot file, next finish. With this, the boot image will be created. So now I'm doing same thing now. First, expand the server, then you can select here, right click, you can find here what, boot image, or you can do from there or here. Select the boot image, right click, add boot image, then the file location. You browse. So where we kept this DVD is appearing, no? DVD, then here you have what, boot image, sources, then open the sources, then boot image. Extension should be beam, WIM. Next, 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 the image will get added. Now it's got converted into .vim extension, and it will make my WDS server get ready to start the process of loading the OS into the remote machine. But to load the OS, we need one more image, that is what, install image. So now next I'll show you how to create the install image. Now the install image to create, same, open the WDS, then system, right click on the install image, click on add install image. Next, in the file location, browse system, computer, open the DVD folder, select install. Next, Windows Server Standard. Next, finish. Then go to the system, right click on this, start the process again. Next, so in the old service, which is called, I told you, RIS, remote installation service is to take 45 minutes for the installation. Now it will take about 15 minutes. Okay. Now our this system is completed. After you install image, then you go to the system to give the IP address which I have given. Now, depending upon your vendor, you need to go to the BIOS setting. So in the HP, I think the BIOS setting is mostly F10. In the laptop of the Dell, it is F2. So I'm having Dell. So I'll be pressing what F2. Go to the BIOS. First enable the boot LAN card. So in the laptop, it is default enabled. Then you go to the what first boot should be network because we are putting the OS installation through network method. Then press F key, F12 to start the process. Then you can do the installation. Okay. So now I'll show you the remaining part. So I created the boot image. Now I'm creating the install image. How to create install image? Right click, same process. Add install image. Then go to the next. Here browse our DVD. Then open the source. Now you will find here what? Install image. Select, open. Next. Now here, which OS you are installing? Data center or normal? The normal. So you select one, the second one. First one is what? Server core, not full. Core means only text. This is what your GUI. Second one. Select the text. Now it will take more time because it is converting the total image. Boot image will appear quickly because it's just making the server ready to start the deployment, initiate the process of starting the deployment. But who will do this deployment? Installing. So it will take more time. So just we need to wait. I already make my system to ready. So just I need to go there, go to the BIOS, then press what in Dell F2. Then I'll go to the BIOS. Then after going to the BIOS, my first booting priority should be what? Network, not the hard disk. Then you can find the OS has been loaded from the WDS service to the client. Now the deployment can be done of the OS as I shown you on the first day. It's got successfully created. Now everything is been done in the everything is done in that. So they'll just you start the service once more. Go to the alt task, stop, and go to this. Go to alt task, start. This is what it's now everything has to be checked from the client machine. Now Windows WDS services working fine. Now go to the client. I'll restart my machine here. I'll restart. We'll be pressing what? F2. Dell machine. For your vendor, you need to press. not booted. Let me do once more. Again, I'll restart. Okay, I went to the BIOS now. Go to where boot. Now here you see your bootable device is what? First bootable device is what? Hard disk. So your bootable device should be first one is what? Network. So how you will select? Just use the plus. I want this one bootable device to be first. So I'm putting the bootable device one first. Here. Now which is the first one? Network boot because I'm doing the booting from network boot. My LAN card is already enabled with what PXE. So just save this. How to save it? In every vendor F10 is the saving. Now it's booting. Now the OS will get loaded from the WDS. It's checking for the DSCP. Once it assigns the IP address, the OS can start loading from the WDS server. So before that, it will ask to press the F12. Here, ask for F12. I press. Now it is contacting whom? 10.1, which is my DNS server ADS. Now the files are getting loaded. This is the same as we did in the first day of our OS installation. Same thing you can find now. Now it has been done remotely. At that time, I used the ISMH. First, the booting is taking place through boot image. You can find there. Once the loading is done, OS will be deployed through installing. Will initiate the process boot image. And installation is done, deployment of the OS is done through install image. Now see here, same thing. Now it's getting started, installation. One step further I'll show. After that I'll close it because you know how to do the installation. did first time, no, same thing. First we selected with what language. Now it will ask which OS you want to load, data center or the standard. It is asking the administrator. Who is the administrator? Domain administrator. Administrator at the rate our domain name. Here, next. It is asking. Here. Now next, the installation. Okay. So I'm not proceeding with the installation because you already know how to install it. So I'm closing this. So now did you understood? Did you understood the WDS process, everybody? Or any doubt? Now, if you want to do this for any new machine, same process. What you have to do? Create new virtual machine. Go to that machine and keep the first bootable device option should be what? Network. Then same way, it will install the OS. If you abort in between means that OS will not be installed. Just you cancel the process. Okay. Somebody is asking what is difference between WDS and SCCM. So can you just elaborate what is SCCM? Because I didn't heard about that. For the new machine, same thing. First, you create a new machine without any OS. Same process will take place. Just you need to remember the first bootable device should not be hard disk. It should be network because you are deploying through the network. Then it find the Microsoft Center Configuration Manager. Okay. So it is a tool. So that might be used. That might be used to configure the OS as per specific requirement. I told you, no, one thing is there configuration image. Similar to that, it might be there. So when you are deploying the OS in multiple machine, you need specific configuration. At that time, you may use this tool. But it is not a tool to deploy the OS. Specific requirement, you can do it. So that's what specific things you are adding into that, then you are deploying. It is now default. Now you want some additional services to be installed in some 10, 20 machine, then you will use that. I told you like a configuration image, no? So that might be integrated with that. Specific configuration. So that's it for Windows concept now. See, I told you, no, we are doing here one time. So now next time what we will do, this is attended case. Non-attended means we need that one application. I told you that application name, no, WAAK. So by using that tool, we don't have to do these things. So there are two options. So if you nobody want to attend, nobody is giving administrator name, pressing F12. So for that we need one tool. The tool name is what? WAAK, Windows Assessment Automatic Key. Then it will do that without attending it. Two options are there. Without the tool, I need to attend it. Okay, understood? So with this, we have done with what? Today's Windows concept. Now today we'll move to the next concept related with what? Linux. Yes. So shall we proceed with the Linux now? It's a third party tool. It's not there with the, we need to install this Windows Assessment Automatic Kit. It is not coming inbuilt with the Microsoft. It's a tool which we need to install from the internet. Okay. So now we'll continue with what? Linux. So just take 1 minute break and we'll start with the what? Linux. Now let me continue with what Linux session. No? Can I start or shall I wait? I'm getting information. You continue. I'll continue it. Yes. So yesterday, somebody said me, wait, you decide majority of it because I also thought just to refresh your mind, just if you take some small break, yes, 1 or 2 minutes break, it will be good for you because now entirely new thing we'll discuss. Linux. Okay, just take 1 or 2 minutes break, but in that between, don't write your voice is not coming like that. I'm also take a small break. Just small break. It's not lengthy break. Just it might be 1 or 2 minutes, not more than that. Yes, please. So don't please write that voice is not coming because I'll also take a rest of 1 or 2 minutes. Thanks everybody. We'll continue the session after 1 or 2 minutes. Yes, continue with the session now. Yes, we can download. I told you yesterday the ISO image is there in www.centos.org. That website. From that you can freely download CentOS 7 ISO image. Even the RHL is also available, but you use CentOS, exactly same. Okay. Just I'm saying how to download the ISO image of the CentOS 7. So for that you go to the www.centos.org and you can download it. Okay. So can I begin with the installation of the Linux? Yesterday I told you the introduction. So did you remember the installation? Not sorry, not installation. Introduction. Sorry. Yesterday I didn't complete the installation. I just told you the introduction. So in the introduction we discuss what? How to what is Linux and what are the features of it. So you remember what is Linux? If somebody asks you Linux, how to define it? Linux. Yes. Anyone? Yesterday I told you no. Yes, that is the exact word you have to use. It's an open source operating system, and this operating system is designed by Linus Torvald, and it is based on Unix. Unix is also an operating system. So in that we discuss there are so many flavors because of the open source nature. So we are going to discuss about which flavor? Which flavor? Red Hat. So in the Red Hat there are two versions, free and commercial. So free is what? Completely free. In that they are using the series Fedora, and in the commercial they are using the series with what name? RHL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So RHL will have more features compared to the Fedora. So Fedora is suitable for home purpose, whereas the RHL is for industry purpose. So that is free, Fedora. But whereas RHL, we need to not as a license key, but they are charging it for providing the technical support and the updates. So same thing, you can get it in the form of RHL 7. You can get it in the form of completely free through CentOS. So we are discussing RHL through the CentOS. Installation, command, everything will be same. Only one difference I told you. RHL 7, they'll charge you, provide you the support. But CentOS is completely free, but no support. You have to manage by yourself. Okay. Apart from that, everything is same between RHL and CentOS. So yesterday I told you the introduction. Now today I'll show you the installation to install the Linux OS. After that, if you agree, we can have a little about like a half an hour session for understanding the structure of the Linux OS. If you agree, maximum of you, because I think most of us are under the lockdown situation. So if you agree, I'll have a half an hour extra session if you agree. Otherwise, after the installation, if you feel it's okay for today, means I will stop there. If you agree, I'll continue with the structure of the Linux OS. That depends on your mood or your energy level, and majority of you, not one or two, majority of you, what you say, I'll do. Because I also under same, everybody same, under house only, no other work. Okay, so we'll proceed with today with what? Today first I'll show with what? Yesterday we proceeded with the introduction part. So yesterday we could have done the installation, but the time was over, so I stopped the session after introduction. Now I'll proceed with what? Installation. So for installation, this is the prerequisite condition. So compared to the Windows Server 2000, this required less resources, hardware resources. So your processor, if it is a least value, dual core also it will support, not Pentium, minimum dual core. After came what? Quad core, then the I series. So dual core is minimum, RAM is for text OS 512 and for graphical 1 GB, and the hard disk size 15 to 20 GB is enough. So these are the hardware requirement for installing the RHL 7. Exact same requirement will be there for CentOS 7. So now can I begin with the installation? Yes. So this installation is also very simple like Windows. So I'll proceed with the installation. After that, depending upon your assessment, I'll continue the next topic, that is the structure of the Linux OS, if you agree. Okay. So let me go with what? The installation. So to proceed with the installation, first I need to create a virtual machine. because I'm doing it. That one file is there, 7.5. That is the big file. Even you can find a file about like 3.9 GB or something like 4.1 GB. With that also you can do the practical. I'm having a file whose size is about like 4.0 or 4.1 something that zero. So this 7.5 will have more applications. So if you download that or the lighter one about 3.8 or 3.10 something like this, around 4 GB also is available. You can use that also for our basic Linux. And hard disk size if you give 15 to 20 is enough. That you will understand in the structure. Okay. So let me first create to install this OS. First we need to create a virtual machine. So yesterday I shown you how to create a virtual machine through VM through. I'll show you how to create a virtual machine using VMware. So how to create a new virtual machine? Then open the VM application which you install. Then you'll get an option called create a new virtual machine. From here also you'll get it. File new virtual machine. Same thing it will appear. Now my requirement is what? I want to install the Linux OS. New OS. So first I need to create a new virtual machine. So for that, open the VMware application, then click on create a new machine. Then go with the typical option. If you go with custom, you have to select, give the RAM size. Extra 2 steps will come. So you can proceed with this. So by default, it will take 1 GB RAM. Next. So here, if you select this option, the OS will install according to the ISO image. In that, you will get only 2 partitions. But one important difference between Windows and Linux is what? Windows OS can be installed only in a single partition, single drive. But Linux OS can be installed on multiple partitions. So suppose in Windows it is easy to operate, but disadvantage is what? In Windows, one of the OS folder get corrupted, like my user folder or my program file got corrupted. What will happen? It will affect the entire OS. But that can be avoided in Linux by installing the Linux OS in multiple partitions. So which you cannot do in Windows. So in Linux now, when we install the OS through multiple partition, if one of the Linux OS folder get corrupted, it will affect only that folder belong to that particular partition. That only will be affected without affecting the complete OS. That's why it is always recommended to install the OS in multiple partitions. But we cannot do in Windows, remember. In Linux, we can do. So to install your Linux OS on multiple partition, we need to select the option called I will install the operating system later, not this one. If you select this, in the ISO image, there are two files. Sorry, two partition. Only two partition will be created. So after that, you cannot create further partition. So if you want to create your own further partition, you need to create minimum 4 partition. How many partition you create? So that you can do with the help of this option. Third option, I will install the operating system later. Next, go here. So today, whether I'm installing the Windows OS, no, Linux. So you select here Linux. So it will show the Linux, most of the flavors, not all, most of the flavors. But we are not going to install, we are not installing the Ubuntu. My requirement is CentOS. So go to here, what? CentOS 7, which is a 64-bit operating system. Now select here Linux. Under that, which OS you are installing, you select under the version. Then go to the next. Now, what is the name you want to give? You can give. Default, it is taking this name. If you want to keep, you keep it. Now, I have enough space in E drive. So, I'll go to the browse. So I'll select my E drive. Then, I'll create one folder with some name for my easy understanding purpose. Folder name, let maybe say Linux. So, I'll install the OS now in Linux folder. Linux OS in Linux. This is my folder. Now, go to the next. So default it is taking 20. If you want to increase or decrease, you can do. But 20 is more than enough. Then go with next. Now you can say finish now, or you can go as you are done in the window, same way. You can click on finish, or you can go to the customize. Then select here what? new CD DVD. Then select here which option, ISO image. ISO image, browse. I already copied my ISO image in D drive, CentOS. Here, you can go little bit down. This is my Windows Server 2000. This is my CentOS 7 ISO image. So I have something like 3 point something 8 GB. Now, if you want, you can select your LAN card also now here. Select here LAN card. So use custom. Then use some name. Then go with what? Close. Finish. Suppose if you have forgotten this, you can do now also. You got one new name now. CentOS. Right click here. Settings. Same thing you can proceed from here also. Use the ISO image path. Whatever LAN card you want to give, you can proceed. Now we created the virtual machine. On this virtual machine, our now requirement install the CentOS 7 operating system. Same step, same procedure for RHL. Please remember RHL 7. So what I have done now, it's not installation, it's just creation of a virtual machine. That virtual machine is ready. So on that virtual machine, which is called instances, I can install the OS. So now this is the installation of the Linux RHL 7 or CentOS 7. So it is asking, do you want to install? Yes. Highlight which option? First option, using the up arrow key. Enter. Now it is asking to enter one more time. Enter. Now the OS is getting loaded from the ISO image. Now we can begin with the installation. Now see, this is the installation steps for the Linux RHL 7 or CentOS 7. So it is asking which language you want to use while proceeding with the installation. I'm selected default what? English. In that also options are there. Which English country? You can select according to your requirement. Go with what? Continue. Now here, important thing you can notice here. Here, begin the installation. Whether it is highlighting, no. So here, we need to configure these icons as per our requirement. Out of this, these are all optional. This red one is a mandatory. So I'll show you even the optional options also, how to proceed. So now, say suppose here the date and time is selected according to the which location default. New York means US. But so suppose I'm not in New York, not in US, some other country. So according to my location, how to select the date and time? Click on that icon. Now from here you can select, but it will take more time. You just go with your country location. Like I am in India. So if you go inside the India, it may select some other country. Like Kathmandu means Nepal. So you just whichever country time you want, just be right side, not inside it. Now here time is matching. If it is not matching, you change it. Here in my case it is matching, so I'm not changing. So if you, the option if highlighting is not there means make your network time protocol on means it will not highlight. So you make it off, it will highlight. Now you want 24-hour system AM PM as per your requirement you can change it. Okay, done. So once it is done in Windows we have most of the time OKR next. Here is, they have given what is script or option done. So first icon is done. So with this also got done. No need to make changes to this. Now go to this keyboard. Now here we default which keyboard you are using. This is now after the installation it is asking. Earlier we selected one for doing the installation. Now this is asking what language you want to use while after installing the OS. So if you want to use other than English, you press what? Plus. So here, so many languages are there: Hindi, Telugu, Urdu, whatever, Arabic, Malayalam, whichever you want, it is there. So I'm not going into those options. So I'm just selecting here what? English. Then go with what? Done. Now here, no need to do these changes. This is done. Now go to this option. This option is related with this. Don't do any changes here. You do the changes here. So here, default, what is selected here? Software selection. In that, what is the option? Minimal install. Means if I proceed with this, means the OS will be installed in a text mode. Means I'll not get the graphical. Only I can work with the keyboard. So you want both text and graphical, means you click on the software selection. Here you can select only one option. Remaining you can do after the installation. So here two option is best. Either you go with Genome desktop or server with GI. So if you select both option, you cannot select any one. So if you select any one of these, server with GUI or Genome desktop, you will get the OS in graphical. And you can simultaneously from the graphical, you can work with the text mode also. So you can work with text mode as well as graphical with these two options. Either you select Genome or server with GUI. Both options are provide you the working in graphical and text. I'm going with Genome. Genome is the name of the desktop. Now it will take few seconds. You need to wait it. Now it is updated here. Now still you are not getting begin installation highlighted. So this is the most important. So why we are using this option means it is asking you, you want to install your Linux OS in how many partitions. That you can do with this option. So Linux OS installation will be done or should be done in multiple partitions. So minimum 4 partition you should create. 4 partition. So what is the advantage with that? If one of the Linux OS partition get corrupted, it will not affect the complete OS. This is the one of the important advantage of Linux over Windows. That's why you find now most of the servers working on Linux. So now click on installation destination. It is asking, do you want to go with the automatically configure partitioning? If you say done in the ISO image, there will be 2 partitions. So 2 partitions will be created. No, I want to create my own partition. Then click on I will configure partitioning. Then go with what? Done. Now I can create my own partition depending upon my requirement. Now it came into which one? Manual partitioning. So to create the partition, we have partitioning scheme. So under that you have 4 options. By default it is selected which one? LVM. So most of us new to the Linux, so you might not be knowing what is LVM. So LVM is a process or mechanism through which if you create a partition in the future also, OS partition also you can extend or increase the size of your OS partition. But if you don't know, suppose LVM, you just go with the standard. So with the standard partition, it will create fixed size partition. In the future, if you get a requirement to increase the partition size, you cannot do with the standard. But if you selected the LVM, you can in the future also, you can increase the size of your OS partition. I'm going with the standard because you don't know LVM. But I told you the what is the advantage of LVM. Then click on the plus to create the OS partition. So in Windows, your OS will get installed on C drive, whereas in Linux, similar to C drive, you have what? Forward slash. So these are the folders we are going to discuss in the next topic, that is called the structure of the Linux OS. So here slash is similar to, it is a directory. So the main directory is slash. So slash is similar to C drive. So the Linux OS will get installed on slash, whereas the Windows OS on C drive. And remember one more important point, in Linux there is no drive concept. It is here directory will be there. So OS will get installed on slash directory. It is not a drive. It is a directory, main directory. This main directory contain many subdirectories. Like in Windows, C drive is the directory. Inside the C drive, Windows OS will be there in the form of many folders like Windows, System32, program file, users, like this. So these are the important OS folders. Subfolder. Main folder will be one, and and remaining are subfolders. So first you need to install the OS on the slash. So what is your OS size? That should be the slash size minimum. So my OS size is suppose 4 GB. So I should never give the size of the slash less than 4 GB. You should give always more than 4 GB. So here you can give 5 GB, 6, 7, 8, 10. There is no maximum limit, but you should give more than that. So I've taken total size 20. So I'm giving what here 8. So it is designed to take value in MB. So if I write 8000 means no need to mention MB. It will take default. So it will become 8 GB. Or simply you can write 8 GB. So out of 20, I given 8 GB. So how much is remaining? 12. Next. Now I'm creating the one partition is created. Now I'm creating another partition. So one of the subfolder under the slash is what? Slash boot. So slash boot required for booting process. 100 MB is enough. I'm giving 200. So I have not written MB. Default it takes. Here. Second partition is created. Now you create one more partition. Slash home. Slash home means 1 GB required. I'm giving 2 GB. Users data or users information will be there here in the Linux in slash home. So three partitions created. So out of 20, 10 is used. 10 more is there. I'll create one more partition. Now minimum 4 partition you have to create. So these are all OS partition. You can leave also, but one partition we have to create. This is not OS partition. To improve the system performance, we'll create swap partition, which is like a logical memory. So it should be the double the size of the RAM. So our system will frequently not get hang. So my RAM size is 1 GB. So I'm taking swap size is what? 2 GB. So here it is not a slash. It is a logical memory to improve the system performance. So out of 20, 12 is used. How much is remaining? 8. So in the future, I can use this 8 GB to create the further partition after the installation. So for that, minimum 4 partitions should be created. So here also like Windows, first 3 will be primary, fourth one will be extended. And after the extended, we can create whatever partition that comes under logical. Same like Windows. If you create 3, and fourth one if you create, it will become primary means you cannot create any further partition. So that's why minimum 4 you have to create. Now this 4 will become like a 5. First 3 will be primary, fourth one will become extended, and one more, whatever you create now, that comes under what? Logical. Now, as per my requirement, this many partition is enough. So if you want, you can take a snapshot of this. For the lab purpose, you can use this value. If you do more or less, nothing will happen. But to get some idea, this is the values you can use. Don't give the value in GB for slash boot. You give, it may take some little bit more fraction of second for rebooting. Now I'll click on what? Done. Now it is saying, do you want to cancel the installation or proceed with the installation? We want to proceed with the installation. So say accept the change. Now which one is highlighting? Begin installation. Now the installation is completed. So when this installation is completing, one default user will be created. That is the administrator. So in Linux, the administrator name is what? Root. That name you cannot change. Like in Windows, the administrator name is administrator. So now when we install any OS, we need to assign the password for the administrator. The same thing here is mentioned. Assign the root password. Root password is not set. So you set it. How to set it? Click on the root password. Now you can give any password of your choice. So it is saying minimum 8 character. If you give less than 8 character also, it will accept. I have given here red hat. So now click on here. It is writing your password is less than 8 character. But still if you want to use same password, press done. How many times? Twice. So press done on twice. 2 times. 1, 2. Accept. Here compulsory we need to create while installing the OS one user. You create any user with any name, with any password. So one user is created. Now it will take certain time. Like this many applications will get installed for the Genome desktop. So once it is done, it will ask for reboot. Okay. So this is about the installation of the Linux. And if you don't have the time, you can just go to this option called suspend. So from where you stop, if you power off, OS will not get installed. It will be interrupted in the middle. So that OS will not get installed. Your VM machine will get corrupted. So you have to remove that machine again, proceed with the step. But if you suspend it from where it is stopping, from there you can start again. So now I'm putting like this. Now I'm asking you majority of your person's view. So now shall I continue the session to explain the structure of the Linux operating system today? It may take about half an hour more. If you want me, I'll continue. If majority of you don't want means, we'll take it tomorrow. Please, majority if you say, I'm ready because somebody saying tomorrow, somebody saying continue. So how can I understand majority view? Please come to some conclusion. Majority if you are requesting for, I think, tomorrow. One person saying fine, could continue tomorrow, tomorrow. So I think majority wins. Okay. So will you agree for little bit lengthy session tomorrow? Yes. Tomorrow means can you afford more time? Okay. No problem. So let us continue tomorrow only because already WDS is lengthy concept. So tomorrow I'll take this. I'll show you the remaining part because I'll suspend it. So tomorrow you can see from same number it will start the installation. So I'm putting in suspended. You can note it down 308 10. So it will suspend now. Now tomorrow, please remember we'll discuss uh, one important topic is remaining in the WDS. One important topic is remaining in the tomorrow session, that is VPN. How to configure the VPN. So suppose if we are working for our from remotely, what service should configure? VPN. So we can log into our private network from anywhere. So that we will see tomorrow, how to configure the VPN in MCSE. Next, I'll show you the structure of the Linux along with the basic commands tomorrow. So Linux will be there with continuation of installation and as well as with the installation is completed. Just that process will complete. After that, it will ask for reboot. I'll show you that. Then we'll continue with what? The structure of the Linux as well as basic command in Linux. And in MCSE, we'll take VPN. So this will be our two important concept tomorrow session. Okay. Okay. Understood everybody about today's session, WDS and the installation of Linux. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you everyone. Once again, I'm just requesting you everybody because you might have seen the news. Some areas has been completely sealed. So you take your precautions, stay safe. Uh, Once the situation become normal, it depends on everybody of us. So as the situation improve, they will think about removing the lockdown. It is everybody responsibility to keep ourselves, at least ourselves, safe first. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We'll continue our tomorrow session with what? VPN and structure of the Linux along with basic command. So once again, thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm closing the session. Thanks, everybody. Physical machine, you want to get this custom. I'm not able to understand what is the requirement for you. Can you just elaborate? There is no hurry. I'll be there. No problem. You can just write it. See, after doing that WAC procedure, means what is there? First, you need to ready with your ISO image. Whatever you have in the ISO image, same thing you will get it. So if you want some additional things, means you create. First, you install the OS through ISO image. Then you install the services as per your requirement. Then whatever service additional things you install in that machine, on that machine you create one new ISO. So you should be knowing how to create ISO. Once you create that ISO, then to that application we can deploy without attending to. Same configuration will be done in all remaining machines. The WAC is an application, third-party tool, through which nobody need. It is not required to attend the machine in which the OS getting installed. So like I went to the password, I went to the key F12. That also need to be do because it contain that application contain answer file. In that we need to write some script. Then it will run automatically. For our fresher, this is not needed, but as you grow your company, these things will be important for you. Yes, it's same process. So image will be there by default, not admin will be created. There is an option when you search the image or when you search the download option for any OS. Now nowadays is appearing into what ISO image. What is the advantage with ISO image is that to burn like previously when we used to have the DVD, we used to take the when this VMware technology was not there. So we used to take the ISO image at that time also. We need to use some application like Neuro something. Yes, we used to burn that ISO image into DVD. Then we need to install the DVD and install the OS. But with the improvement in the technology like sorry, with the virtualization, like whether you use Hyper-V, VirtualBox or VMware, there is no need to burn or change the image. Directly it will support the ISO image. So ISO image directly will be available on the internet of any OS. So with the virtualization, no need to convert it. See, with the difference between the CentOS and Ubuntu is what? CentOS is purely designed to work on a enterprise edition, means for the companies or for the industry. Whereas the Ubuntu is having more graphical option and it is suitable for beginners or for home purpose. You can configure some certain servers, but as per the servers, better features you will find it in the enterprise edition of the RHLR CentOS compared to the Ubuntu. So Genome is what? A desktop name. It's a desktop name in the Linux. You have two types of desktop. Uh, one is called KDE, other one is Genome. So mostly we work with what? Genome desktop. Yes, if you have doubt regarding the WDS, you can ask. Go ahead with your doubt. can proceed with your doubt. That is very important doubt you asked. Suppose here I'm waiting for like just I'm having less time because the students are waiting for like around 2 or 2.5 hours. So now in the real time, the OS will not be there. So there is no question of how you will check it. But suppose I make sure that the DSCP is working or not, I check with what the existing OS. So same way, what you can do in the real time, whether your DSCP is working or not, you can take one machine. Like you may have another machine. So many machines are there in which the OS is installed. Or you check with your laptop. You connect in the network and check where you have configured the DSCP. It's working or not. For our benefit only. In the machine without any OS, there is no way you can check it. But important thing is DSCP should be working. So to make sure that DSCP is working, I took one machine and check it. So it should not be. It doesn't mean that a machine in which the OS is not there. In that also we need to check before that. We cannot check that. Just you can take any machine where the OS is there, just to make sure that WDS will work with the DSCP. So if suppose you did not check, if you are getting the error means again you need to check whether the DSCP is there or not. It is not mandatory, optional. You take any machine where the OS is there. You just check, make sure that DSCP is working or not, because everything is dependent on what DSCP. That's why I checked it. So without OS, you cannot check it. Directly use it. So if WDS is there, it will install it. If DSCP is working fine, it will work. Otherwise, you'll get some error. You can take one new machine, connect it, and check it where the OS is installed. Because in the company, you will not have a machine, at least one machine without OS. If it is not there, you take your personal laptop and check it. Use the IP address and check it. Okay? Which one got corrupted now? Suppose DSCP. If the previous OS got corrupted, DSCP is working. The OS is still not getting loaded means you have to check step by step. First, you check with what I mean, it is working means your DNS is working. Now, still the OS is not getting loaded means then the problem with what the OS got corrupted. So you in the ISO image you download one new ISO image and keep it. Understood? So this is a step-by-step procedure. First, we have to check DSC, then the DNS. Then still any problem is there, now you need to identify by reading it. If it is a OS problem, you just remove the OS and install. Yes. Uh, ability to present the look after the OS is not required. Yes, OS is not required. If we support, that is the advantage. Yes. Without that, how it will become a part of the network and how it will able to compulsory DSCP has without any other doubts. I told you the difference. You can go with standard or LVM. These are the most commonly used partition in Linux. The better option is LVM because in the future, if you get the requirement to increase the size of your OS partition, also you can increase, which you cannot do through the standard. Standard means it will be fixed. If your OS is okay and DSCP is working fine, compulsory you can able to install the compulsory you can able to install what the OS through the network method. So once again, thanking you everybody. Yes, that depends on the size of our network. I said, if your size of the network is like medium or large, then compulsory you need to keep different services in different machines. If you keep everything in one machine, means the load will be increasing, and with that, the disadvantage if that machine get corrupted, so all these services will be not available. So generally, we need to employ in different machines. See, generally, gateway means what? If your communication is taking place through the different network, or you are working in multiple network, then router is needed. So how do you ensure the traffic from one network to another network? With the help of the router IP address. So that's why router IP address is called as the gateway. When you work in a same network, no need of router. When you work in two different router, then you need the gateway IP address. Gateway IP address is nothing but router IP address. It depends on the size I'm telling you. All companies, can you tell me any company, all services and machine? That depends on the company structure or the size. If there are only 5 to 10 clients, then if very small company means they can keep all services in one machine. But if they are, suppose 50, 60, 100 clients, then compulsory they need to maintain multiple machines for multiple servers. Compulsory, any network you use, firewall is compulsory. In real time, compulsory your traffic will allow to pass and go out with the help of firewall. Security should be there. DNS, one machine. If you want DSCP also in one machine, IIS in some other machine, then WDS in some other machine. Like, but two, three services if you keep in one machine, not a major problem. But all of them you keep means if one that same machine get down means so many services will be not available. Yes, if it is a network, every machine should able to communicate with. Then only the advantage of network is there. They need to communicate. Then only you can share the resources, services. Otherwise, you cannot. That's it. So thank you everyone. Closing the session now. See, system admin, Windows admin means if you are system admin means you need to manage the system. Windows admin means on all your system, Windows operating system is installed. Then you call Windows administrator. In all your machine, the Linux OS is installed. Then it is called Linux administrator. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm closing the session. Okay. Thank you.